How are my Saturn return people doing? My Saturn in Pisces, how are we doing? I don't know, like, I just feel this is something we have to talk about. It is the end of this Saturn return for us. I'm just so curious. Maybe I should go and read it, but no, I'm gonna make a video about it because it seems like an interesting topic. So even before I start this video, maybe even comment and tell me like what is going on. What did you learn? Is this final stretch, because we're in the 12th house now? Is it did it just completely 180 your entire process like me? I don't know, because okay, Saturn in Pisces, this one has taken me literally maybe 3 years to understand. And that's that I read a bunch of articles, you know, I didn't really ask questions, but I asked Google some questions, and I never felt like, what am I supposed to do? The thing is, you don't really ever know what you're supposed to do, right? That's being human. Like, we think we know, but really we're finding out. We're exploring. So I just never really like, am I doing this right? Am I doing it wrong? Am I honoring you, Saturn? And to explain what a Saturn return is, it's basically when the planet of Saturn transits, means like it's in the sign of the sign you were born in. So for us, or, you know, if you're watching this and you're just curious, maybe you're not a Saturn in Pisces. We were born at the time Saturn was in Pisces. And I can't really think of many energies that are so opposite of each other, besides maybe even maybe Gemini or Aquarius, but you know, like these airy fairy type. But Pisces is very airy fairy. So I'm like, okay, you got Saturn and then you got Pisces. So these past 3 years or so, Saturn has returned back to Pisces. And what that means is, for many people, is it's really like, okay, it's the time, it's crunch time. Saturn is karma. It's time, it's structure, it's order, it's basically, have you worked hard? And if you've worked hard, I will reward you type of energy. If you've taken shortcuts, if you've BS'd along the way, if you screwed over people, Saturn's gonna be like, nah, no, you're gonna get something back, and not in a good way. So Saturn, that's why he's like the father, right? Father time. He's seen as a malefic planet. Malefic, it means bad, you know, especially in traditional astrology, you could say it's associated with calamities and a lot of bad things that have happened. But really, malefic is just gets a bad rep, but it's like, you're gonna work for this. Like, you're gonna work for this. It's not gonna be easy. And Saturn is the epitome of that. And thankfully, I like my Saturn. You know, I have a Capricorn sun, so it's like my soul is just like, okay, hard work, yes, I like. But when it comes to Saturn and Pisces, it's like, what are we doing? You know, what are we doing? So I don't completely understand now, but now that we're at this final stretch, I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, I'm getting it. I get it now, because I've had to kind of 180, retrace back, reset, redo all my mistakes, and then now I'm like, okay, I understand what I must do. And it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to do it because there's no other way. Like, I cannot continue this way. So let's explore this. Saturn, like I said, it's the planet of karma. It's structure, it's discipline, it's order, it's hard work, perseverance. It's all the things that people don't want to do. It's not instant gratification. It's delayed gratification. And that's something that I always thought I've embodied. You know, the past few years I've been working really hard to sharpen myself as a weapon, you know, as to sharpen myself to be the best man possible, to be disciplined, to work hard, to represent what it is to be a sacred masculine man. And I'm like, okay, at any means possible, I'm going to accomplish these goals, you know, boom, 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 boom. And maybe that doesn't look like that for you. I just happen to have a chart that correlates with that. But now with Pisces, and I have Pisces, look at what house Pisces is in for you. For me, it's in the 10th house, in the midheaven. Oof, right, like, yeah, that's some heavy energy. Like, I would say 8th house, 10th house, 11th house, 12th house. That's gonna look, especially 12th house, 10th house, 8th house, in my opinion. You know, I haven't studied all houses, how that looks for Saturn and Pisces, but those seem like to be the heavy hitters, right? Pisces is intuition. It's dreamy. It's ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. And Jupiter is all about expansion. Pisces is, well, Jupiter rules Pisces and Sagittarius. Sagittarius being the masculine aspect of that rulership, and then Pisces being the feminine, the intuition, the spirituality. Sagittarius has that too, but it's more of a philosopher, the higher mind. So Gemini is the lower mind, like it's more intellectual. Sagittarius is philosopher, it's more philosophy. So here we have Pisces, so more of the spiritual aspect. Pisces is the end of the astrological zodiac, right? It's where the story ends, and Pisces is supposed to represent all of the signs, essentially. Like it's the end. In a way, it's mastered all of it, and it's reached this spiritual pinnacle. That's the story of Pisces, and that's why it's so like, whoo, up here. It's so Pisces people tend to get this rep that they're not here. They're up there, they're dreaming, daydreaming. So now we have Saturn, and now we have Pisces. And for people with Pisces, especially if you're 10th house like me, well, let me talk about 10th house. I don't know if I said 10th house is MC. It's the house of like your image, your public persona, the public image, your career, what you do. So for Pisces, that looks like someone who is more spiritual, right? Or who is tapped into intuition. That's a perception of what people give you. So what that would look like is what you do has to be in tune with your spirituality. It has to be in tune with your intuition. You cannot just work a corporate job and hate it, okay? You have to use your creativity. You have to use your soul into it, put your soul into it. And Pisces is that. Like, you will not be happy using like Saturn, that hard work along with this intuitive, spiritual, dreamy type of aspect, this creative expression that wants to be born from you. So like I said before, I was working really hard. I was full yang mode and like really full yang mode, burning out and then coming back and burning out and coming back and burning out and coming back. Because I was full warrior. I was full in that, like, okay, just keep going, just keep grinding. And I wasn't really tapping into like these intuitive faculties. I wasn't really dreaming, I was doing a little bit of that because I've always been spiritual, but I wasn't really going in there, because it's like, nope, there's so much work to do. I can't go into these feelings right now. I cannot afford to go into the unconscious. I cannot afford to go into all these other places. Like, let's go here, and that's it. So what I've understood is, like, let's say I've been doing that, right? I've been doing that, and then let's say the past half year or so, I'm like questioning, I'm like, something is not working. So for me, even though I was doing the hard work, even though I was really like getting in there, and not that I didn't get results, but I just never felt fulfilled. I never felt happy, like completely, and I wasn't aware, because my not happiness was still a pretty good life. Like, it was still okay. Like, it's doable. Like, I'm not like, ooh, so excited to, it wasn't like, oh, I hated my life, nothing like that. But it was just, all right, I'm doing things I love, but also like I'm living this other life, and something just does not feel balanced. Something doesn't feel in equilibrium. And finally, I think at this last leg, I don't know at what house Saturn came into, but it was just like lightning bolt, earth shattering. I'm like, oh my God, this is what happiness is. Like, this is what, not even happiness, that's the wrong word. This is what true fulfillment feels like. This is what true embodiment feels like. This is what makes me feel alive. Like, not just, yeah, I'm alive, I'm good, I'm grateful, but like alive. I started working with and for others, and using more of my intuitive faculties, more of my creative faculties, more of my actual spiritual, like deep spiritual, like you could say love, like real deep, unmovable love into things, and sculpting it with care, and also dreaming of a better world. And that's the thing with Pisces. Like, there has to be like a higher purpose to it. And not that my work before didn't have a higher purpose. It always aligned to a bigger goal I had. It was just more the means I was using, and the the things I thought I needed to accomplish those things and the tactics I thought I needed to accomplish those things were not aligned with where Saturn wants me to learn. Like this dreamy aspect. Like the problem with Pisces is it'll be up here and not bring it down here. Saturn is going to bring it down here, be like, okay, here is the vision, here is the dream, here's your intuition. So all these things that represent Pisces, that are Piscean in nature, it's learning how to use those things and create that dream and make it into a reality. And that's what I've taken from this Saturn in Pisces. Now I'm like, Saturn has been like, at every step, kind of like, boom, jab, boom, right hook. Man, it has been a painful experience the past few months. Painful because I've had to lose aspects of myself, go through right now a dark night of the soul. So it's funny that at the end and realize what actually matters, what actually sets my soul on fire, what is like in here Piscean in nature, what is really tapped into the highest evolution, right? The top of the zodiac, the spirituality, and to know what that truth actually is. Not that I know the truth, but what is my truth. And of course, at the end of my Saturn return is when I go through this dark night of the soul, because I've realized, oh my God, I was building a dream. I have been building a dream. And I realized, but whose dream? I was building a dream. But I wasn't building my dream, my true dream, the one that I know and now can have opened up the channels to really see what dream that is and to make it a reality. So really good question to ask for the Saturn in Pisces. And I know it's the end of it, so I don't know where you're at in that process. Maybe you already went through it, or maybe you're going through it, or maybe you're still like, oh, what the hell? Either way, a really good question to ask is, are you building a dream? Okay. Are you building your dream? Not someone else's dream, not the dream that's marketed to you, not the dream that was programmed into you by the Matrix, not the dream that someone else believes is the best for you, but your dream. That dream. That's the dream Saturn wants you to build. And look at the house. Mine is in the 10th house. So now it's like what builds my life, career, public image, what I do for a living, basically. What I do has to be a part of my dream. My dream has to be imbued into it. Can't do the cubicle, can't do my current job, work in the lab. That's not feeding my soul. And so Saturn, obviously, in my eyes, had to give me these like different points of like, all right, are you gonna get it now? Here. And then finally, the final strike. I was starting to get it, okay? Not to say I wasn't. I was getting there, but it's like, all right, boom. Pushed me right into the spotlight. Pushed me, it doesn't even matter, into darkness or into the light. It doesn't matter. Either way, it is blinding. I'm not supposed to know where I'm going, but I gotta go and build this dream. Bring it down here. So I find it very funny that I'm like, okay, I get it now. It took me only 3 years or so to finally understand. Was it 3 years? 2 years? When did it start? I've lost track of when did it start. 2 or 3 years ago, Saturn Return. I'm like, oh geez, I was building a dream. Okay, I was doing all, I thought I was like doing it, but it never felt right. And I'm like, oh, I see now. Okay. So for my Saturn in Pisces people, let me know how that process has gone. If you know your house, like how is it affecting that house? What has that looked for you? Have you left your job? Have you completely changed direction, your career? Have you gone through something where like something happened and you're just, okay, I get it. Something horrible happened or something really good happened because you're reaping the rewards. I'm curious to know. I haven't really discussed this with many people, but that is pretty much, if you don't know me, you've never seen me, and you don't know about this channel, that's why I pretty much rebranded. I don't really like that term. It's more than a rebrand. It's not even a rebrand. It's a rebirth of what this channel is. It's more authentic, more real, and not that I wasn't authentic before, but I thought I had to follow certain things, and there's always like a missing piece. Like I felt like, it's not that I didn't know. I didn't know there was an aspect of myself that I hadn't yet tapped into. So how could I know, right? But now I'm like, okay, we're going to restart this thing. And it's going to be a representation of everything. Because I know that's the way to build this. You know, I do talk about masculinity, that I'm very into spiritual masculinity and, you know, divine union. And I'm also into I'm into holistic health, how to improve your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, your all areas of life. Like, it's a very holistic way I see the universe, you know, talking about all these different concepts. And it's just a hodgepodge of things, but they're all interrelated. They're all connected. That's just the way I work. My only hope is that others like me or others in that process with me can benefit from sharing this information. And, you know, hopefully, like with you sharing, I also learn. I also become better because we start to build a community, even though we don't know each other, maybe. We're still going along this journey and learning. And once we build that resonance, it's almost like we're improving faster and better. And I see that in my real life as I get to know more people and commune with more like-minded people. It's like we genuinely start to get better and better together. So that's somewhat of the idea. The idea of this channel touches upon those things. And another thing, I'm very into getting into nature. This is part of my passion. That's why they're outside. It's not for the algorithm, okay? Because I've noticed that it does well in the algorithm to film outside. No, I forage. That's one of my passions. I love herbalism, like learning about plants. I love bushcraft. You know, I love making my own bow and arrow, making a fire with a bow drill, hand drill. I love working with my hands with the earth. I love feeling the soil beneath my feet and feeling with my hands. Everything about the natural world is extremely spiritual. And I'm really into getting men, women, I say men, but rewilding us. Because when we rewild, when we get introduced to these things that we've been disconnected from, we become more of ourselves, more of the environment, more of what actually matters. So all of that is represented in this channel, because that's the expression of this, you know, of this, what's coming out. And that's the way I see the world. I'm like coming back to earth, holistic, masculine and feminine dynamics. Boom, I see it all throughout. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, I invite you to subscribe, to like, and of course, let me know what's going on, you know, as I said, with your Saturn return. And I'm not an astrologist, okay? I'm not a professional astrologist. I'm learning. I have been learning, and now I'm just expressing more of that because lately I'm like, you know, might as well explore this while I'm having fun and share what I learned to others who are going through a similar process. I will catch you in the next video.